Hey, it's Bible time, and I'm here in my spot where I spend time with the Lord first thing in the morning. Yesterday at the morning message, I told you that's kind of the first thing I do in the morning, and so this is kind of the first thing I'm doing this morning. I've got my coffee cup here. I usually have breakfast, and I pray and I read. Now, I like to pray writing my prayers because I pray short prayers like we do, but if I try to pray for longer, sometimes I get distracted. That means other things catch my attention, and so I forget what I'm praying about. So I write them. Now my handwriting is super messy, but your names are all in there because I prayed for every one of you and your families this morning. Let me see. There they are. And it's in cursive and it's messy. You know what? I figure this journal is a good place to write messy because God can read any kind of handwriting. So I can write as messy as I want, and He knows. He knows my heart. He knows my handwriting. You might want to try that. You might want to get a journal or a fun piece of paper and try to write out some names of people that you want to pray for. We did that a few times with prayer centers, but that's really fun. And I've got my Bible that I'm reading through. So I want to get to our lesson today. I've been telling you that God gives us a lesson in the Bible about how much, how important it is to Him that we do not lie, that we do not sin. And it's in Acts, which is near the end, and it's actually what I've been reading in my Bible, which is kind of cool. But our story is in Acts. And it's about, so we talked yesterday how Peter and the other disciples, they were going around after Jesus had risen and gone back to heaven, and they were healing people through God's power and in God's name. Many people were coming to God and becoming Christians, trusting in Jesus. So this takes place where they're at a church, a new church, and there's two people called Ananias and Sapphira. They were a husband and wife. Well, the same, we've talked about tithing before, how we bring gifts to God, how when we make money, we want to give God a portion of that money back just so that we can remember He is the one who gives us everything that we have, right? It's not us that gives us the ability and the time and the gifts to work. It's Him. So we want to give back to Him to remind and to help other Christians and to help other people hear about Jesus, okay? So that's the tithing part. So Ananias and Sapphira had sold some land, and they were bringing the money before God at the altar. God wasn't physically there, but they were bringing it to the church. Well, so Ananias is the man. He went first and he said, I've sold land. Here's all the money I'm giving. And he told them that he was giving all of the money. Well, God gave Peter wisdom to know that Ananias was not telling the truth. So it wasn't so much what amount Ananias was giving. It was the fact that he lied about it and said he was giving more than he gave. And do you know what happened to him? God struck him dead. He died right there because he did not tell the truth. And Peter said to him, why would you lie? Because you're not just lying to me, you're lying to God. And that's something we need to remember. The Bible talks about that. When we sin, we're not just sinning against that person. So maybe we might tell a lie to our parents and we think, well, they don't really care. They probably do care. But even more important than that, we're sinning against God. So we need to keep that in mind. So the rest of this true story, Sapphira, his wife, comes a few hours later, does not know this has happened, does not know what her husband, what happened to him. And she goes in and she says the same thing. And Peter said, why would you lie? She was struck dead as well. Now, I want you to hear something. It is very likely that you are not going to die if you tell a lie. We've talked about that, how we all can lie about little things and big things. They're all big to God. But in our times now, we don't see that God is striking people dead when they lie. But He gave us this for us to know that it is a big deal to Him. Sin is a big deal. So we don't want to think, oh, it's not a big deal if I just tell a little lie. It's okay, I'm young. No, sin hurts God. It separates us from God. It separates us from other people. Remember, we said He is holy and set apart. So we want to ask Him to help us to not sin. And when we do sin, because we are going to sin, that's when we want to go to Him and say, help me change. He will help us, and that we're sorry. Okay, so this is a kind of a serious lesson, and it's an important lesson for us to hear, because we need to know who God is. And part of who God is that He is holy. He is set apart and perfect and does not sin. Okay, so now I want us to practice that verse. I love this verse. I've been practicing it. Even last night in bed, I was practicing it. Okay, ready? Ephesians 4:25. Therefore, putting away lying, let each one of us speak truth to his neighbor. Did you get it? Practice. Okay, love you.